Also help us prove our compliance. You're going to be better off.
Transport operators must also work with their customers to ensure that rosters and delivery timetables are reasonable and achievable.
Our customer base now is fully aware of the way the systems must be run. We have customers now that, in the old days, customers used to say, you've got 10 hours to get to the destination. We have customers now saying to us, you will not turn up in that terminal before 10 hours. We sit down with every customer, we go through the run, we go through what we're going to do on changeovers and everything else. We set the guidelines with the customers, and we both work very well together on it now.
We have made chain of responsibility compliance a key performance indicator in our contracts. So if we have a customer putting in unrealistic expectations on us or the drivers, we penalise them under the contract. So, you know, the industry's got to stand up and let the customers know how important it is to do things the right way, and how important it is for them to make decisions that are in line with what the transport company needs in order to do its job properly and safely.
Unsafe or unsuitable workplace conditions contribute to fatigue. Cabins need to be designed ergonomically and must comply with Australian design rules. Cabins must be well ventilated. Seating must be adjustable to the driver's height and weight. Sleeping accommodation must be provided if drivers are required to sleep in the truck.
We selected trucks not only on performance, but nowadays with OH&S and everything else that's around, you've got to concentrate on safety. Driver's comfort comes into it now as one of the most important parts. With driver comfort comes a better fatigue. He's not worn out and being jolted around a cab for 4 hours. So truck selection is done here through, we consult with the driver committee. We have a look at the engineering of them, and the workshop has a big input, and then we sit down and put the whole lot together to see what we come up with. It's a long process, but I think we have a fleet here that are very good on the drivers.
Training is a key component in managing fatigue. Training should include, but isn't limited to, identifying the common causes of fatigue, such as the effects of night work and shift work, recognising the signs of fatigue, knowing the hazards associated with working long hours, and understanding home issues that can impact on the driver's fit for duty, and knowing driver responsibilities for appropriate use of their rest days, so they are fit for duty on rostered days.
From the moment we place a driver on in our induction training, he is continuously trained. We train in-house for induction, for our shuttle systems and how they work and what is expected of drivers. We feel it's very important that all the drivers are trained to the fullest extent at all the time.
It's critical that training is provided to all members of the chain, including supervisors, schedulers, and any other person whose actions may affect road safety. Under a fatigue management system, transport operators must ensure drivers and contractors are appropriately supervised while away from the depot. This includes auditing logbooks and timesheets, making scheduled phone calls, and using GPS to monitor the progress of consignments and fatigue breaks.
Where we record every driver at every point. And so we're monitoring on GPS, we're monitoring by calling the drivers, talking to the drivers, and we have people sit down in the operations office and talk to drivers all the time. That's all their job is. A, we find out how they're going. B, it breaks the monotony of their trip, and they look forward to a call and it's spasmodic, they never know when the call's coming. So it breaks their monotony, and in doing that, we know whether they're on time, we know whether they're sounding okay, and if we need to, we'll tell them to pull up and have a rest.
And a lot of remuneration systems are based on distance travelled, and particularly if a driver's on a country road and being held up by a slow-moving car in front of him, he feels that he can't afford to stop and have a 10-minute break, and his remuneration isn't remunerating him while he's doing it, so there's this mental attitude, I can't stop. So what we do is try and take all of those issues away. We say we're paying them a retainer per day plus a distance-based remuneration, so they have got the ability to be paid if they're stopped, and we take the issue of deadlines to get to the unloading or loading point away, so that if they're being held up or they're feeling tired and they want a break, they can have a break and it's not going to impact them.
Fatigue management involves ongoing evaluation and monitoring to ensure that procedures are being followed and legislative requirements are being met. Consultation with all parties involved in the chain of responsibility, along with checking driver logs and trip plans, will determine whether the implemented measures are effectively controlling fatigue.
They're out in the wide blue on their own, and if you don't have any control or any input, you're at their mercy. And under chain of responsibility, where does that leave us all? So you've got to take the initiative and have some input and some contact and understand how to recognise the signs.
No two operations are the same. Every member of the transport chain should assess the specific factors that result from their operations and use a risk management process to manage their risks, and keep a record of this process as evidence of the steps that have been considered and taken to manage the risk of driver fatigue. The new national fatigue laws that will come into effect in late 2008 will reinforce the need for organisations to manage fatigue. For more information about the new fatigue legislation, go to the menu of this DVD or visit ntc.gov.au or vicroads.vic.gov.au.